reflect on what you see here. So I'm going to hand things over to Peg, who is also Sam, to present what we've all been talking about. Sam, take it away.
Hello, everyone. So I have been acting as Peg, the interview's mascot, behind the scenes and in the chat, but at this time I'm going to transform into Samantha, the interview's board member, and I'm going to show you our thinking canvas. This is the moment I've been looking forward to most this evening. This is where we get to share all of the key themes and takeaways that each breakout room was discussing. So let me just get my screen shared, and we'll dive into all these amazing ideas that you've put forward to help us get through and smash these pandemic roadblocks. So as you can see, there's a whole bunch on the canvas now. We're not going to be able to talk about all of it. We are going to be sharing this on our social media channels and on our blog in the coming days, so you will be able to dive in even deeper. But I wanted to highlight a few of the key themes that were coming out of each of those discussions. So on the topic of access to healthy and safe spaces, which Cynthia was leading a lot of the discussions on, some really powerful takeaways about, openly discussing topics of disability during the pandemic and seeking out disabled voices after the pandemic, during the pandemic, in the future. Definitely something we always want to be keeping in mind. I think that's a great takeaway. Remembering that the disabled experience during the pandemic is not the same as the rest of us. A lot of disabled people have been hearing things like, it's okay, the people who are dying are really sick, and we really need to change that perspective. Help is only useful when it empowers. Hope is only useful when it isn't an illusion. So there's some fantastic takeaways there, and looks like there were some great discussions. Moving on to this topic of growing a career in the face of uncertainty, I think this sticky says it best. Uncertainty is the one thing that is certain right now. And it's so important in the face of uncertainty to know yourself. What brings you closer to joy? What brings you further from joy? Find your community, seek out mentors. We've seen that a few times. And if you know Intervivos, you know that we definitely can help with the mentorship aspect. Of course, we run 2 mentorship programs every year, and we're excited the next one is going to be in person. So if mentorship is right for you, definitely seek us out to find more about that. And growing a career isn't just growing a career, it's growing yourself as well. Lifelong learning. Humans are adaptive creatures, and we can adapt. And here's another great one. If an employer doesn't accept you as your authentic self, it's not your employer.
Wow.
They don't deserve you, and you shouldn't have to present yourself differently or anything other than what you are. On the topic of championing diversity and allyship, Funky was leading this discussion. We know that understanding someone's background is the first step to becoming a more inclusive society. We have to work together to make change happen. The pandemic blew a lot of issues wide open in the diversity and allyship space, and we did lose some of the gains we had won, and we need to make up some ground here. Walk alongside people, not in front and not behind. I think that's so powerful. Allow people to show you and teach you how they want to be supported. The mental health discussions, this was absolutely on fire, these green stickies. So I know that mental health is a topic that's top of mind for many of us. Remember, vulnerability is not a weakness. The biggest things we can do when we have conversations is to be vulnerable. We need to be proactive and say why we need things. Vulnerability creates change and opens doors and helps remove barriers. So tell people honestly what's going on, and more empathy, bring more empathy into the experience, and it goes a long way. Of course, try different mental health approaches. There's a whole library of different things that you can choose from for your self-care and keeping your mental health healthy. And respect the needs of extroverts and introverts during conversations. Have patience with yourself. Respect that mental health conditions are complex, and have patience with yourself. That's one that we had seen a whole bunch. So to wrap it up here, some highlights from the work-life effectiveness conversation with Sony. Do what we can when we can, and let the rest go. You can't help yourself you can't help others if you don't help yourself first. There's that saying, you can't pour from an empty cup. That definitely comes through with work-life effectiveness and when some of those boundaries have been blurred. So some great solutions: time blocking, scheduling breaks, making sure you're scheduling time for yourself, whether it's time for yoga or time for a bath, these types of things to bring you closer to yourself and bring more mindfulness into your life. So set priorities for yourself and feel empowered to take time off as needed. So there's so much great stuff to dive into here. I mean, we could talk about this all night, but we know you all have lives to get back to. So like I said, we will be sharing the thinking canvas on our blog and our social media channels in the coming days. I'm going to hand things back to our MC extraordinaire, Sarah, for some closing comments.
Sam, way to nail it. That was a fast and furious, not too fast, not too furious, only in the right ways. A summary of everything we talked about. And just, I mean, this is just some Sarah Chan tidbit for everyone to take away, because, you get all this great advice and then you're like, but I do that. Like, I tell people that I'm not okay. I tell people how I'm really doing. And sometimes people don't listen. So not everyone who is in your path is going to be the right ally for you or the right member in your community. And as much as it's important for them to listen, they are only where they are at on whatever journey they are on. And so it's not you. When you see people picking up what you're putting down, those are your people. And that's what you need to lean into. And if you're not getting that in some places, that's okay. Just come back here and hang out with the rest of us, I guess. Huh. Intervivos will be posting a post-event survey in the chat shortly, and it will also be emailed to you after the event concludes. If anything, my new work is telling me is that the surveys really matter. I know it's a boring thing to do, but it really helps the organization. Please fill out the survey. Fast and furious, you can do it. We believe in you. Intervivos wants to thank our sponsors again. Our presenting sponsor, Park Power. Chris, I hope you showed up and had a good time. Pipiguan Pitiguan, Bamboo Ballroom, The Common, Chicken and Waffles, Ruby Gorgeous Salon, Token Natural, Mock-Up Mocktails, Peter DeVos Consulting, and Donut Party. Intervivos is grateful to each one of our speakers for taking the time this evening to spend with us and share all of their expertise and authentically engage with us. Every single one of our experts was exactly the sorts of people who listen with care and empathy and were picking up what we were putting down. So that includes Cynthia Decor, Ellie McDine, Funky Alokud, Odion Welch, and Sony Dasmara. Yours is the toughest one for me, Dasmapetra. Speakers, don't leave, because when I wrap up these closing comments in a moment, we need to take a quick picture with you, or else nobody will believe that you actually decided to hang out with us. So please stick around for just a moment so we can take a photo. Thank you to the Intervivos board members and volunteers for helping run this inspirational program. You're working hard tonight. It's not easy facilitating and moderating and taking notes, and sometimes these skills are underrated, but they are not underrated here. We appreciate you. Fill out the survey, please. Oh, if you fill out the survey, that's when you win the Donut Party gift card. Yes. The survey will also be in your email. And if you enjoyed this event, please consider taking part in another Intervivos event. We'll be running a mentorship program that launches at the beginning of the summer. So stay tuned on the mailing list and social media to know when that's happening. My name is Sarah Chan from Alberta Mentoring Partnership, and I hope that everyone takes very good care and continues to stay safe. Thank you and good night.